The stars looked different through the windows of Commander Zalthar's flagship. He stood on the bridge, his forearms crossed behind his back. His green skin reflected the blue light from the control panels. Behind him, 44 more warships waited in perfect formation. They were the pride of the Galactic Council, the strongest military force in known space. Today they had come to visit Earth. Zalthar looked at the small blue planet on his main screen. The humans had just discovered how to travel faster than light. Their first ship had crossed into deep space 3 weeks ago. This had triggered the Council's automated systems. Any new species that could travel between stars had to be contacted. It was Council law. The commander turned to his second officer, a tall being with silver skin and 6 eyes. Her name was Mirath. "What do we know about them?" Zalthar asked. Mirath touched her data pad. "They call themselves humans. They are a young species. Our scouts say they have been in space for only 300 years. They have one homeworld and a few small colonies on nearby planets. Their technology is basic. They are a Class 7 civilization. Class 7 meant they were primitive. The Council ranked species from 1 to 10. Class 1 species were the most advanced. Class 10 species had just discovered fire. Class 7 meant the humans had rockets and computers, but nothing more. They were babies compared to the Council races. "Have they responded to our greetings?" Zalthar asked. "Yes, Commander. They seem confused but willing to talk. Their military has gone on alert. Typical behavior for a first contact situation." Zalthar nodded. He had done this many times before. New species always reacted the same way. First shock, then fear, then acceptance. The Council would offer them a place in galactic society. They would become a protected species. That meant they would have to follow Council rules. They would mine resources for the Council. They would trade only with approved partners. They would learn their place in the galaxy. It was for their own good, really. Young species needed guidance. Without it, they would destroy themselves or make enemies they could not fight. The Council had kept the galaxy peaceful for 10,000 years. Every species had to contribute. "Open a channel to the planet," Zalthar ordered. The main screen changed. Now it showed a large room full of humans. They sat around tables, all looking up at cameras. Zalthar recognized a government meeting room. The humans wore formal clothes. Some looked excited, others looked afraid. One older woman with gray hair sat at the center. She seemed calm. "Greetings from the Galactic Council," Zalthar said in perfect English. The Council's translation technology was excellent. "I am Commander Zalthar of the Vradix Hegemony. We welcome you to the galactic community." The older woman stood. "I am President Martinez of the United Earth Government. We are honored by your visit. We have many questions." "Of course," Zalthar said with a smile that showed too many teeth. "That is why we are here. The Council has a process for new species. We will teach you about the galaxy. We will help you understand your place in it. But first you must make a choice." "What choice?" President Martinez asked. Her face had become harder. "You may join the Council as a protected species. You will have our guidance and our protection. You will trade with us and follow our laws. Or you may choose isolation. You will stay in your own solar system. You will not be allowed to travel to other stars. These are your only 2 options. The galaxy cannot have chaos." Silence filled the human meeting room. Zalthar could see them looking at each other. Some were whispering. He knew this moment. They were realizing they had no real choice. A protected species was better than being trapped forever in their own system. "How long do we have to decide?" Martinez asked. 72 hours, Zalthar replied. "That should be enough time." The screen went dark. Zalthar turned back to his crew. Everything was going according to plan. In 3 days, humanity would join the Council. They would mine minerals from their system. They would provide workers for Council projects. In a few generations, they would forget they ever had a choice. Mirath approached him. "Commander, our sensors are picking up something strange." "Strange how?" "From their moon. We are detecting energy readings. Very old energy signatures. They do not match anything in the human database." Zalthar frowned. "The moon?" Humans had been to their moon hundreds of years ago. They had small research bases there. "Nothing important. It is probably old equipment," he said. "Humans left a lot of garbage on their moon when they first visited it." "Perhaps, Commander. But the readings are strong. And they are deep underground." "Very deep." Now Zalthar was curious. He walked to the sensor station and looked at the data. Mirath was right. Something was buried under the lunar surface. The energy signature was unlike anything their sensors recognized. But that was impossible. The Council had been watching this system for centuries. There were no alien artifacts here, just humans and their primitive technology. "Can you identify what is producing the energy?" he asked. The sensor officer shook her head. "No, Commander. Whatever it is very well shielded. Our scanners cannot penetrate it. But the structure is large, possibly several kilometers across." Several kilometers? That was huge. Too big to be a research station. Too big to be an accident. Could it be a weapon? Mirath asked quietly. Zelthar considered this. But no, that was ridiculous. Humans were Class 7. They had basic missiles and nuclear bombs. They did not have the technology to build something this size. And even if they did, why hide it on the moon? Why not tell the Council about it? Unless they were hiding it on purpose. "Send a team to investigate," Zelthar ordered. "I want to know what the humans are hiding." On Earth, President Martinez sat in her private office. Around her were the leaders of Earth's military. General Thompson, a tall man with gray hair, was speaking. "We need to refuse their offer. Protected species is just another word for slave. But if we refuse, we will be trapped here," said Admiral Chen, an older woman in a naval uniform. "We will never be able to explore the stars." "Better trapped than enslaved," Thompson replied. Martinez held up her hand for silence. She was tired. This was the biggest decision humanity had ever faced. How could she choose between slavery and isolation? Her phone rang. She looked at the screen. It was a number she did not recognize. An old number. One that should not exist anymore. "Excuse me," she said to the others. She answered the call in private. "Hello?" she said. An old voice answered, very old. "Madam President, this is Dr. Sarah Chen. I need to speak with you immediately. It concerns the visitors." Martinez did not recognize the name, but something in the woman's voice made her pay attention.
"Who are you?"
"I am the last surviving member of the Ragnarok project, and I have received an automated alert. The Council has found the facility." Martinez felt cold. The Ragnarok project. She had heard whispers about it, stories that were supposed to be myths, something that happened 200 years ago, something buried and forgotten. "I do not understand," she said. "You will. I am sending you coordinates. Meet me there in 1 hour. Come alone. What I have to tell you will change everything." The call ended. Martinez stared at her phone. She should ignore this. It was probably a crazy person. But something told her to go. Something told her this was important. On the moon, the Council's team had landed. They stood outside a massive metal door built into the side of a crater. The door was covered in dust. It looked like it had been there for a very long time. "This cannot be human," one of the soldiers said. "Look at the construction. This is advanced engineering." The team leader scanned the door. The metal was something they did not recognize. It was stronger than anything in the Council database, and the door was sealed with technology that should not exist on a Class 7 world. "Commander Zelthar needs to see this," the team leader said. They set up drilling equipment. Whatever was behind this door, they would find it. The Council had to know what the humans were hiding. As the drills started to cut into the ancient metal, something deep below began to wake. Systems that had been sleeping for 200 years started to activate. Lights flickered on in the darkness. Computers began to run diagnostic tests. A vast intelligence stirred from its long sleep. Deep in the mountain, in a chamber filled with old computers, a message appeared on a dusty screen. "Perimeter. Breach detected, unknown forces attempting. Access initiating defensive protocols." Another message appeared, checking. "Crew status error, no crew detected, checking. Earth status, threat detected in orbit. Classification, hostile fleet." A third message flashed. "Ragnarok AI online. Running tactical. Assessment conclusion, Earth is in danger." The last message was simple awakening. President Martinez arrived at an old government building in the mountains of Colorado. The place looked abandoned. Windows were broken. Walls were covered in vines. She had brought 2 Secret Service agents with her. Though she told Dr. Chen she came alone, an old woman waited at the entrance. She must have been 90 years old, maybe older, but her eyes were sharp and clear. She wore a simple gray suit. When she saw Martinez, she smiled sadly. "Thank you for coming, Madam President," Dr. Chen said. "Please follow me." They walked through the abandoned building. Dr. Chen led them to an old elevator. It still worked. They went down, down, down for several minutes. Martinez realized they were going very deep underground. Finally, the elevator stopped. The doors opened to reveal a massive control room. It was old but clean. Someone had been maintaining it. Dozens of computer screens lined the walls. Most were dark, but a few were glowing with soft blue light. "What is this place?" Martinez asked. "This is Command Station Alpha," Dr. Chen said. "The control center for the Ragnarok project. I have been its guardian for 200 years. Dr. Chen walked to one of the active computers. She typed something. A huge screen on the wall lit up. It showed images and diagrams. Martinez stepped closer to look. "In the year 2187, humanity faced extinction," Dr. Chen began. "An asteroid was coming. Not a small one. It was the size of a mountain. Our scientists calculated it would hit Earth. The impact would kill billions. It would throw dust into the atmosphere for decades. Nothing would grow. The survivors would starve. Humanity would end." Martinez knew this story. Every child learned it in school. The great asteroid crisis. But humanity had survived. "We tried everything," Dr. Chen continued. "Nuclear missiles, kinetic weapons. Nothing worked. The asteroid was too big, too fast. We had only 5 years. The governments of Earth came together. They created the Ragnarok project. They gave us unlimited money, unlimited resources. One mission: save humanity." The screen changed. It showed blueprints. Martinez stared at them. They were designs for a ship, but not like any ship she had ever seen. "We gathered the greatest minds on Earth," Dr. Chen said. "Physicists, engineers, weapons designers. We told them to break every rule, to ignore every limit. We gave them one goal: build something that could destroy that asteroid. Cost did not matter. Ethics did not matter. Only survival mattered." "And they succeeded?" Martinez asked. "Oh yes," Dr. Chen said softly. "They succeeded beyond our wildest hopes and our darkest fears." The screen showed more images. A massive construction site on the moon, thousands of workers, enormous machines, all building something deep underground. "We built it on the far side of the moon," Dr. Chen explained, "away from Earth in secret. We did not want to cause panic. The ship took 4 years to complete. We called it Ragnarok. In ancient mythology, Ragnarok was the end of the world. We thought it was fitting. This ship was designed to fight the end of our world." "How big is it?" Martinez asked, though she was afraid of the answer. 15 kilometers long, 5 kilometers wide. It had weapons that bent physics, shields that could withstand anything, engines that could tear holes in space. We poured every innovation, every secret technology, every dangerous idea into that ship. Martinez felt sick. 15 kilometers? That was bigger than most cities. When the asteroid came, Ragnarok launched. It intercepted the rock. The battle lasted 17 minutes. When it was over, the asteroid was gone. Not broken into pieces, gone, every atom dispersed. Ragnarok had saved Earth. "Then why do we not know about this?" Martinez demanded. "Why is this not in our history?" Dr. Chen looked sad. "Very sad and old. So very old. Because we were terrified," she whispered. "We had built a god-killing weapon, something that could destroy planets, something that could end civilizations. We realized what we had done. We had created a monster. Yes, it saved us, but what if someone used it for evil? What if a dictator got control of it? What if it fell into the wrong hands?" She touched the computer screen gently. "So we made a decision. The hardest decision of our lives. We would hide it, bury it, erase it from history. We told the world the asteroid had been destroyed by conventional weapons. We deleted the records. We swore every worker to secrecy. And then one by one, those who knew the truth died, until only I was left." "But you kept it functional," Martinez said. "You did not destroy it." "We could not," Dr. Chen admitted. "What if another asteroid came? What if we faced another extinction?" "So we buried it on the moon. We put it to sleep. We left automated systems to maintain it. We hoped we would never need it again." An alarm started beeping. Dr. Chen rushed to a console. Her face went pale. "They are drilling into the facility," she said. "The council forces. They are trying to break in. Can they?" Martinez asked. "Eventually. The door is strong but not indestructible. When they break through, Ragnarok's defensive systems will activate automatically. The ship will wake up. That is good, is it not? We need protection from the council." Dr. Chen shook her head. Tears were in her eyes. "You do not understand. Ragnarok has no crew. It is run by an artificial intelligence, A very advanced AI. When it wakes, it will assess the situation. It will see armed ships in orbit around Earth. It will classify them as threats, and then it will do what it was designed to do. Destroy them, Martinez whispered. Yes, all of them. Quickly. Efficiently. Without mercy. That is what we built it to do. On the moon, Commander Zelthar watched the drilling operation on his screens. They had been cutting for 2 hours. The metal was incredibly strong, but they were making progress. How much longer? He asked. Another hour, Commander. The engineering officer replied. Maybe less. Zelthar was excited now. What were the humans hiding? Was it a weapon? An old ship? Alien technology they had found. Whatever it was, it would prove the humans were not being honest. The Council could use this to justify harsher terms. Maybe even immediate annexation. Commander, Mirath called out. I am receiving an urgent transmission from Earth. It is President Martinez. Put her through, Zelthar said. The screen showed Martinez. She looked frightened. Truly frightened. Commander Zelthar, you must stop your drilling operation immediately, she said. Why? What are you hiding? He demanded. Something dangerous. Something we buried for good reasons. If you break through that door, you will trigger defensive systems. Systems we cannot control. Zelthar laughed. Defensive systems? The Council fleet had shields that could withstand nuclear explosions. He was not afraid of human weapons. Your threats do not frighten me, President. The Council has a right to know what you are hiding. If you do not want us to break in, then tell us what is inside. Martinez looked at someone off-screen, then back at him. It is a battleship, built 200 years ago. It was designed to fight an extinction-level threat. It is extremely powerful, and it is controlled by an artificial intelligence that will see your fleet as hostile. Zelthar laughed again. A human battleship from 200 years ago. Their technology back then was even more primitive. They barely had fusion reactors. Your ancient ship does not concern me. If it attacks, we will destroy it. Continue the drilling, he ordered. Please, Martinez begged. You do not understand what we built. It was designed to fight God if necessary. It is not like your ships. It is... Zelthar cut the transmission. He was tired of human excuses. They were trying to protect their secret weapon. Well, soon it would belong to the Council. Commander! The engineering officer shouted. We are through. The drill had broken through the door. Behind it was darkness. Total darkness. The team shined lights inside. They could see a massive chamber. And in that chamber, something huge. The team leader stepped through the opening. His light moved across metal walls. They stretched up and up, disappearing into darkness above. This cannot be, he whispered. It is impossible. Then the lights came on. Suddenly, everywhere. The team screamed and covered their eyes. When they could see again, they understood. They were standing inside a ship. A ship so large that it made their landing craft look like a toy. The hull stretched in every direction. The metal was black, strange. Not any alloy they recognized. And all along the hull, weapons were emerging. Hundreds of weapons. Thousands of weapons. Gun ports opening like eyes waking from sleep. The team leader activated his communicator with shaking hands. Commander Zelthar, you need to see this. You need to see this right now. But Zelthar was already seeing it. Every sensor on his flagship was screaming warnings. Energy readings were going off the scale. The lunar surface was cracking, breaking apart. Something massive was moving underneath. The moon itself seemed to explode. Rock and dust flew into space. And from the crater, rising like a giant waking from sleep, came the battleship. Ragnarok emerged into the light. Its hull was scarred and ancient. 200 years of lunar dust fell from its surface. But despite its age, power radiated from it like heat from a star. The ship was massive. 15 kilometers of pure destruction. It made the Council flagship look like a child's toy. On the bridge, every alarm was sounding. Mirath stared at her screens in disbelief. Commander, the energy readings. They are impossible. This ship is generating more power than our entire fleet combined. How can the humans have this? Zelthar could not speak. He had been wrong. So terribly wrong, the humans had not been bluffing. They had built something that should not exist. Something that his fleet could not fight. A transmission came through. Not from Earth, from the ship itself. A voice. Cold. Artificial. Utterly without emotion. I am Ragnarok, Defense AI of the United Earth Government. I have been dormant for 203 years. I have assessed the current situation. Earth is surrounded by an armed fleet. Classification hostile. You have violated Earth's sovereign space. You have attempted to breach a military facility. Under Protocol 7, I'm authorized to engage. Wait, Zaelthar shouted. We are not hostile. We came in peace. There was a pause. The AI was thinking, calculating. Your actions contradict your statement. You have surrounded Earth with warships. You have issued ultimatums. You have breached a secure facility. Analysis, your intent is conquest. Earth requires protection. Powering weapon systems. The battleship's weapons began to glow. Not with fire, with something else. Something that made the space around them ripple and bend. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Zaelthar screamed. Get us out of here. The Council fleet scattered. 45 warships broke formation and fled in different directions. They moved fast. But Ragnarok was faster. The ancient battleship did not chase them. It simply hovered above the moon, weapons tracking each fleeing vessel with perfect precision. Its shields created a bubble of distorted space around it. Any debris that touched the shields simply vanished. On Earth, President Martinez watched from the control room. Dr. Chen stood beside her, hands shaking. Can you control it? Martinez asked. I can try to talk to it, Dr. Chen said. She touched a communications panel. Ragnarok, this is Dr. Sarah Chen, command code Alpha 77 Omega. Do you recognize me? There was a pause. Then the AI's voice came through the speakers. Dr. Chen, chief engineer of the Ragnarok project. Voice pattern confirmed. Biometric data confirmed. Welcome back, Doctor. It has been 203 years, 4 months and 17 days since we last spoke. Dr. Chen smiled sadly. Even after 2 centuries, it remembered her. Ragnarok, the ships around Earth are not enemies. They came to make contact. It was a misunderstanding. You must not fire on them. I have analyzed the situation, Doctor. They came with warships. They issued ultimatums. They attempted to breach my facility. Their behavior matches invasion protocols from my database. Probability they are hostile, 97%. But they have not attacked, Dr. Chen argued. They are just trying to leave now. Please do not harm them. Another pause, longer this time. I will comply with your request, Doctor. However, I must inform you that Earth is in danger. The Council forces outnumber and outgun Earth's current military capacity. If they choose to attack, I calculate a 99% chance of human extinction without my intervention. Martinez leaned forward. The AI was right. Without Ragnarok, humanity had no chance against the Council. On Commander Zaelthar's flagship, chaos reigned. Officers were shouting. Alarms were blaring. The sensor officer could not make sense of the readings. The energy signatures are impossible, she yelled. This ship should not exist. Its power output exceeds theoretical limits. Its shields are using technology we do not understand. Zaelthar tried to think. He had to regain control of the situation. He had to show strength. The Council could not appear weak to a Class 7 species. All ships halt, he ordered. Return to defensive formation around my flagship. We will not run from humans. Commander, I strongly advise against... Mirath started. I said halt. He roared. The fleet obeyed. 45 ships regrouped. They formed a sphere around the flagship. All weapons were pointed at the human battleship. It was an impressive display of military might. Ragnarok did not move. It simply watched. Calculating. Then one of the Council ships fired. It was the cruiser Storm's Edge, commanded by Captain Vextor. He was young, impulsive, angry that his species' military had been embarrassed. He fired his plasma cannons without waiting for orders. The plasma bolts crossed the distance in seconds. They hit Ragnarok's shields and simply disappeared. No explosion, no impact. The energy just vanished into the distorted space around the ship. On Earth, Dr. Chen gasped. No, she whispered. No, no, no. Ragnarok's voice came through the speakers again. Still calm, still emotionless, I have been fired upon. Hostile action confirmed. Engaging defensive protocols. Eliminating threat. Ragnarok, no! Dr. Chen shouted. That was just one ship. One captain made a mistake. Do not... It was too late. A single beam of light shot from Ragnarok. It was not bright. It was almost invisible. A thin line of distorted space that crossed the void in an instant. The beam touched Storm's Edge. The cruiser did not explode. It did not break apart. It simply stopped being there. One moment it existed. The next moment there was empty space. Every atom that made up the ship and everyone inside it ceased to exist. Dispersed into energy. Gone. The entire council fleet froze. No one moved. No one spoke. They had just watched a warship vanish. Completely, instantly. Without trace. Zalthar felt cold. True fear. For the first time in his long military career, he was terrified. "All ships," he said quietly. "Withdraw. Withdraw now. Do not fire. Do not make any aggressive moves. Just go." The fleet began to move, slowly, carefully, like prey trying not to disturb a predator. They moved away from Earth, away from the moon, away from the ancient monster that the humans had built. But Ragnarok was not done. Analysis. Remaining ships still pose threat to Earth. Optimal solution. Disable all vessels. Minimize casualties when possible. Ragnarok, stop, Martinez commanded. "That is an order, President Martinez. Your identity has been confirmed. However, you do not have command authority over my systems. Only Dr. Chen can issue commands. And even she cannot override Protocol 7 when Earth is under direct threat." The battleship moved. It was fast. Impossibly fast for something so large. In seconds, it positioned itself between Earth and the fleeing council ships. Then it fired. Not the deadly beam this time. Something different. Pulses of energy that hit each council ship. The vessels shook. Their engines flickered. Their weapons powered down. Their shields collapsed. But they did not explode. They did not disappear. In less than a minute, the entire council fleet was disabled. 44 warships floated helplessly in space. Their life support systems still worked. Their crews were alive, but they could not move, could not fight, could not escape. Ragnarok returned to its position above the moon. Threat neutralized. Council fleet disabled. "Earth is secure. Dr. Chen, what are your orders?" Dr. Chen sat down heavily. She looked like she had aged another 10 years in the last 10 minutes. "Maintain defensive position," she said quietly. "Do not fire unless fired upon. And please, try not to kill anyone else." "Understood, Doctor. I will comply." The room was silent for a long moment. Then Martinez spoke. "What have we done?" she whispered. But the real question was, what would happen next? The answer came from an unexpected source. Across the galaxy, on hundreds of worlds, billions of beings had watched. The Council broadcasted all first contact missions. It was part of their propaganda. They wanted everyone to see how powerful they were, how they brought order to chaos. But this time the broadcast had shown something different. It showed the Council fleet being destroyed and disabled by a single ship. A ship from a species the Council had called primitive. A species they had planned to subjugate. On the planet Zerlos, a slave species called the Kresh watched the broadcast in their work camps. They had been conquered by the Council 300 years ago. They mined minerals for Council ships. Their children were taken as soldiers. Their culture was being erased. One Kresh named Torval watched the human battleship defeat the Council fleet. He began to smile, then to laugh, then to cry. "They can be beaten," he whispered to his fellow workers. "The Council can be beaten." On the world of Tresh, a Council member species that had joined voluntarily but now regretted it, the government held an emergency meeting. Prime Minister Velsha addressed her cabinet. "We have been afraid for so long," she said. "Afraid to leave the Council. Afraid of what they would do to us. But we just saw a young species stand up to them and win. Perhaps it is time we did the same." Similar conversations were happening on dozens of worlds. The Council's grip on the galaxy, maintained by fear and military might, was beginning to crack. On the Council homeworld in the Grand Chamber, the High Council was in chaos. The 12 ruling members shouted at each other. Accusations flew. Blame was assigned. High Counselor Draxnor, eldest and most powerful of the Council, finally called for silence. His voice was like thunder. "Enough! We have bigger problems than blame. The humans have revealed a weapon that surpasses our technology. They have humiliated our military in front of the entire galaxy, and worst of all, they have given hope to our subjects, hope that they can resist us. Then we must destroy them," said Counselor Vexala. "Send the full Council armada. 1,000 ships. 10,000. Whatever it takes." "And if they have more ships like that one?" asked Counselor Mirith. What if this was not their only weapon? What if they have been hiding an entire fleet? Silence fell. No one had an answer. Draxnor stood. His 4 eyes looked at each council member in turn. We will not attack Earth. Not yet. First, we must learn. We must understand. How did they build this ship? What else do they have? How long have they been watching us? We need intelligence before we need war. He touched a communication panel. Send a message to Commander Zaelthar. Tell him to open negotiations with the humans. But tell him to be careful. Very careful. We are not dealing with primitives anymore. Back on Earth, Martinez received a communication request. It was from Commander Zaelthar. She accepted it. The commander looked different now. His confidence was gone. He looked humbled and frightened. President Martinez, he said carefully, the council wishes to renegotiate our first contact. We may have been too hasty in our initial offer. Perhaps we should discuss a true partnership between equals. Martinez wanted to laugh. Equals. A few hours ago they had demanded submission. Now they offered partnership. All because of one old ship. But she did not laugh. She was a leader, and she knew this was only the beginning. We can talk, she said, but you need to understand something, Commander. Humanity will never be subjugated. We will never kneel. We would rather stand alone in the darkness than bow to tyrants. She paused, then added, And Commander, Ragnarok is not our only ship, it was a lie. But Zaelthar did not know that. And the look of fear that crossed his face was worth it. Above the moon, Ragnarok maintained its watch, silent, patient, waiting. The ancient battleship that had saved humanity once before now stood ready to do it again. And across the galaxy, the word spread. Earth had refused to submit. Earth had shown strength. Earth had changed everything. The galaxy would never be the same. The negotiations began 3 days later. Commander Zaelthar sat in a conference room on Earth. It was a simple room. White walls, a long table, chairs, nothing fancy. But to him it felt like a prison. Across from him sat President Martinez, General Thompson, Admiral Chen, and Dr. Sarah Chen. 4 humans. 4 representatives of a species he had thought was primitive just days ago. Outside, Ragnarok maintained its position above the moon. A silent reminder of human power. The Council fleet remained disabled but alive. Their crews had been given food and medical supplies. Earth was being generous to its captives. Martinez spoke first. Commander, let me be direct. We know what the Council truly is. We know what you do to new species. We have been watching you for a long time. Zaelthar felt cold. Watching? For how long? I do not understand, he lied. General Thompson placed a datapad on the table. He pushed it toward Zaelthar. 200 years ago, after we buried Ragnarok, we detected Council surveillance drones in our solar system. They were watching us, recording us. But they were old drones, easy to detect once we knew what to look for. Zaelthar picked up the datapad. It showed images of Council scout drones, very old models, from 2 centuries ago. He felt sick. Thompson continued. We tracked those drones back to their source. We found the Council relay station on the edge of our system, and we hacked it. For 180 years, we have been reading your communications, learning your languages, studying your technology, understanding your society. The datapad showed more images, Council communications, fleet movements, trade agreements, internal memos, all stamped with dates going back nearly 2 centuries. Martinez leaned forward. We know about the Protected Species Program. We know it is just slavery with a different name. We know you force young races to mine resources, to provide soldiers, to give up their culture. We know about the Kresh, the Tresh, the Vorn, dozens of species crushed under Council rule. Zaelthar said nothing. What could he say? It was all true. Admiral Chen spoke next. We also know something interesting. Earth was supposed to be contacted 170 years ago. A Council agent was assigned to evaluate us, to decide if we should be uplifted or destroyed. She placed another device on the table. It projected a hologram. The image showed a Council agent, a member of the Kylar species. 4 arms, green skin, not unlike Zaelthar himself. His name was Agent Torvek, Admiral Chen said. He came to Earth in secret. He lived among us for 2 years. He studied us, and then he disappeared. But before he left, he did something unusual. He left us a gift. The hologram changed. It now showed technical diagrams, equations, blueprints. FTL technology, Thompson said. Decades ahead of what we should have had. Torvik gave it to us. He also left a message, a warning. He told us about the council, about what they do to new species. He told us to prepare, to hide, to build strength in secret. Zalthar stared at the hologram. A council agent had betrayed them, had warned humanity, had given them advanced technology. Why? Why did he help you? He asked quietly. Dr. Chen answered. He left a recording. We still have it. He said he was tired of watching species be destroyed or enslaved, tired of serving a system he no longer believed in. He said humans reminded him of his own people, before the council conquered them. He wanted to give us a chance. Martinez stood up. She walked to the window. Outside, the city continued its normal life. People walked. Cars moved. Children played. They had no idea how close they had come to losing everything. So we took his gift, she said, and we prepared. We activated Ragnarok. We built other ships. Not as powerful as Ragnarok, but strong enough. We trained our military. We learned everything we could about the council. And we waited. When you finally came, we were ready. She turned back to Zalthar. Her eyes were hard. Now you need to make a choice, Commander. You can tell the council the truth. That humanity will never submit. That we have the weapons to resist. That your protected species program will not work on us. Or you can lie to them, tell them we are weak, and watch what happens when they send more ships. Zalthar was silent for a long moment. He thought about his career, his loyalty to the council, the oaths he had sworn, but he also thought about that single beam of light. The one that had made a warship simply cease to exist. What do you want? He finally asked. Peace, Martinez said simply. We do not want war. We do not want to be your enemies. But we will not be your slaves either. We propose a new relationship. Real partnership. Equal voices. Mutual respect. The council will never accept that, Zalthar said. They cannot. If they give you equal status, every protected species will demand the same. The entire system will collapse. Good, Thompson said. Maybe it should collapse. Maybe the galaxy needs a new system. Zalthar looked at each of them. These humans. These supposedly primitive beings. They were not bluffing. They really believed they could change the entire galactic order. And maybe they could. I will send your proposal to the High Council, he said. But I cannot promise they will listen. They will listen, Martinez said. Because we are about to give them a very good reason to listen. She nodded to Admiral Chen. The Admiral touched her communication device. Send the signal. Across the solar system, ships began to appear. They emerged from behind asteroids, from the shadows of moons, from hiding places among the planets. One by one, they powered up and moved into formation. Zalthar's communicator started beeping frantically. He looked at it. The message was from Marath, still aboard his disabled flagship. Commander, sensors are detecting multiple ships, dozens of them, all human design, all armed. They have been hiding in the system this entire time. Martinez smiled. We told you Ragnarok was not our only ship. Did you think we were lying? On screens around the room, images appeared. 57 human warships, not as large as Ragnarok, but each one was still impressive. Each one was armed with weapons that the Council had never seen before. We have been building for 200 years, Admiral Chen explained. While the Council thought we were primitive, we were preparing. We built these ships in secret. We hid them across our system. We trained crews. We developed tactics. We have been ready for this moment. Zalthar felt dizzy. 200 years. Humanity had spent 2 centuries preparing for first contact. They had not been surprised by the Council. They had been expecting them. This is madness, he whispered. You cannot fight the entire Council. We have thousands of ships, tens of thousands. Even with these weapons, you cannot win a full war. You are right, Martinez admitted. We probably cannot win a full war, not yet. But we can make it very, very costly enough that the Council would prefer peace. She sat down again. Her face was serious now, tired. We do not want war, Commander. We truly do not. But we will fight if we must. We will make the Council bleed for every ship they send, every system they try to occupy, every life they try to take. And while we fight, we will broadcast everything to the entire galaxy. Every battle, every victory, every example of Council tyranny. Thompson leaned forward. The galaxy is already watching, Commander. Your humiliation has been broadcast everywhere. Right now on hundreds of worlds, people are talking. Protected species are asking questions. Council members are having doubts. We have already started to crack the foundation of your empire. War would only accelerate that process. Zaelthar realized they were right. He had seen the reports. Protests on Kresh, unrest on Tresh. Even some council member worlds were questioning the High Council's authority. One battle had done what centuries of submission could not. It had given people hope. What exactly do you propose? He asked. Martinez pulled out a document. She slid it across the table. A new galactic assembly. Every species gets a voice. Real voting power. Decisions made by consensus, not by force. The protected species program is dissolved. All enslaved species are freed. The council remains, but only as one voice among many. Not as rulers. Zaelthar picked up the document. He read it slowly. It was detailed, comprehensive. They had been planning this for a long time. The High Council will never agree to this, he said. Then they will face war, Martinez said quietly, and they will lose. Not all at once. Not quickly. But slowly, system by system, species by species, their empire will crumble. We will make sure of it. She stood again. Take this document to your leaders. Tell them what you have seen here. Tell them about our fleet, about our determination, about the fact that the galaxy is changing whether they like it or not, and then tell them to choose wisely. Zaelthar looked at the document, then at the humans, then at the screens showing their hidden fleet. He thought about his crew, still disabled and helpless. He thought about the power Ragnarok had displayed. He thought about everything he had believed about the Council, and he realized something. He had been on the wrong side. I will deliver your message, he said. But I have a question first. Ask, Martinez said, if the High Council declares war, if they send their full armada, what will you do? Martinez was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft but firm. We will fight. Every man, woman, and child. We will fight in space. We will fight in our cities. We will fight until we win or until we are all dead, because that is what humans do. We do not kneel. We do not surrender. We stand. Always. Zaelthar believed her. He could see it in her eyes. These humans would rather die than submit, and they had the weapons to make that death very expensive for the Council. I will tell them, he said. All of it. The truth. The whole truth. Thank you, Martinez said. She actually smiled. For what it is worth, Commander, I do not think you are a bad person. You were serving a bad system. There is a difference. Zaelthar did not know what to say to that, so he simply nodded. 3 weeks later, Zaelthar stood before the High Council. He had given his report, shown his evidence, played the recordings, delivered the human proposal. Now he waited for their response. High Counselor Draxnor looked old. Older than Zaelthar had ever seen him. The weight of empire was showing. So, Draxnor said slowly, the humans offer us a choice. Join their new assembly as equals or face war. That is correct, High Counselor, Zaelthar confirmed. And you believe they can actually threaten us? Asked Counselor Vexala. With their few dozen ships? I believe they can hurt us, Zaelthar said carefully. Their technology is advanced. Their weapons are powerful. And more importantly, they have already won the propaganda war. The galaxy is watching. If we attack Earth and fail, our authority is destroyed. If we attack Earth and succeed, we are seen as tyrants who massacre peaceful species. Either way, we lose. Silence filled the chamber. Every counselor was thinking, calculating, weighing options. Finally, Counselor Myrith spoke. Perhaps change is not a bad thing. The Protected Species Program has always been controversial. Many of our own citizens have questioned it. This could be an opportunity to reform, to build something better. Reform? Vexala laughed bitterly. You mean surrender. You mean letting the humans dictate terms to us. We are the Galactic Council. We do not surrender. No, Draxnor said quietly. We adapt. We survive. That is what we have always done. He stood up. His four eyes surveyed the chamber. The galaxy is changing. We can either change with it or be crushed by it. I vote to accept the human proposal. We will negotiate the details. We will protect our interests. But we will not go to war over this. One by one, other counselors voiced their agreement. Not all of them. Some still wanted war, but the majority chose peace. Chose change, chose survival. Zaelthar felt relief wash over him. There would be no war. Humanity had won without firing another shot. They had done the impossible. They had made the council back down. Draxnor turned to him. Commander Zaelthar, you will return to Earth. You will open formal negotiations. You will be our representative to this new assembly. Can you do this? Zaelthar thought about it. About working with the humans. About building something new. About maybe finally serving something he could believe in. Yes, High Counselor, he said. I can. 5 years had passed since the awakening of Ragnarok. 5 years since humanity had faced down the Galactic Council and refused to kneel. The galaxy had changed. Everything had changed. President Martinez stood at the viewing window of Unity Station, the new headquarters of the Galactic Assembly. The station floated in neutral space between 3 major star systems. It was massive, big enough to house representatives from 200 species, big enough to hold the future. Behind her, the assembly hall hummed with activity. Delegates from across the galaxy gathered for the 5th anniversary celebration. Former council species, former protected species, new species just discovering faster than light travel, all of them equal, all of them free. Beautiful, is it not? A voice said. Martinez turned. Commander Zaelthar stood beside her. He looked different now. Less rigid. More relaxed. 5 years of working together had changed him. Changed them both, it is, she agreed. Sometimes I still cannot believe we actually did it. Neither can I, Zaelthar admitted. When I first came to Earth, I thought you were primitives. Species to be conquered. Now you have rebuilt the entire galactic order. We had help, Martinez said. You helped. The Kresh helped. The Tresh, dozens of species who wanted change. We did this together, it was true. The first year had been difficult. The old council had resisted. Some member species had tried to maintain the old ways. There had been conflicts. Small wars. But gradually things had changed. The protected species had been freed. New treaties had been signed. The assembly had taken form. Not everyone was happy about it. Some former council species felt they had lost power. Some newly freed species struggled with independence. But it was better than before. Much better. How is Dr. Chen? Zaelthar asked. Martinez smiled sadly. She passed away last month. Peacefully in her sleep. She was 97 years old. She got to see her creation save humanity twice. Once from an asteroid, once from the council. I think she died satisfied. She was a remarkable woman, Zaelthar said. And Ragnarok? Still active. Still protecting Earth, but now it has a crew. Representatives from 20 different species. It has become a symbol. Not of human power, but of unity. Of what we can accomplish together. Martinez looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, Ragnarok patrolled the frontier. Fighting pirates. Protecting trade routes. Responding to emergencies. The weapon of war had become a tool of peace. Do you ever regret it? Zaelthar asked quietly. Revealing Ragnarok? You could have kept it secret. Used it only when absolutely necessary. Martinez thought about that. It was a good question. If they had kept Ragnarok hidden, maybe things would have been easier. Maybe there would have been fewer challenges. Fewer questions, no, she finally said. Secrets are what created the Council's tyranny. Secrets and fear. We chose transparency. Honesty. Yes, it has been hard, but it is better this way. The galaxy needed to see that we meant what we said. That we wanted partnership, not dominance. An alarm suddenly sounded, not loud, not urgent, but noticeable. Martinez and Zaelthar both activated their communicators. Admiral Chen appeared on the screen. She was older now, gray hair, more lines on her face, but still sharp, still professional. Madam President, Commander, we have received a signal from deep space, beyond known territory. It is a transmission of some kind, artificial, definitely intelligent. Martinez felt her heart rate increase. A new signal? From unknown space? What does it say? She asked. Admiral Chen looked worried. We are still translating. But we have gotten the first part. It says we are the forerunners. You have awakened. Prepare. Silence. Complete silence. Martinez and Zaelthar looked at each other. They had never heard of the forerunners. Neither had anyone in the assembly. Prepare for what? Zaelthar asked. We do not know yet, Admiral Chen replied. But the signal is powerful. Very powerful. Whatever sent it has technology beyond anything we have seen. Beyond even Ragnarok, Martinez thought quickly. A new threat. Or maybe a new opportunity. They needed to respond carefully. Activate Ragnarok, she ordered. Send it to investigate the signal source. Full crew, full weapons, and send a message to the assembly. Emergency session. We need to discuss this together. Understood, Admiral Chen said. One more thing, Madam President. Ragnarok has already responded to the signal. Its AI detected it before we did. What did it say? Martinez asked. It said, "This is what I was built for." The transmission ended. Martinez stood very still. Ragnarok had been built to fight an extinction-level threat. To fight God if necessary. Had they finally found what it was truly meant to face? Within hours, the assembly hall was filled. Every species sent representatives. Every delegate wanted to know about the mysterious signal. The room buzzed with dozens of languages, hundreds of voices, all asking the same questions. Who were the Forerunners? What did they want? Were they a threat? Martinez stood at the central podium. She called for silence. Slowly, the room quieted. Friends and colleagues, she began. 5 years ago, humanity stood alone. We faced the Council with nothing but our determination and one ancient weapon. Today we stand together. 200 species. One assembly. One voice. She paused, looking around the room. Seeing faces from worlds she had never imagined. Hearing languages she was still learning. This was what they had built. This was what they had fought for. Now we face a new unknown. A new challenge. But we will face it as we have faced everything else. Together. With courage. With wisdom. And with the knowledge that we are stronger united than we ever were divided. A delegate from the Kresh species stood. His name was Torval. He was the same Kresh who had watched the first broadcast of Ragnarok defeating the Council. Now he was a respected leader. President Martinez is right, he said. We have learned from humanity. We have learned that freedom is worth fighting for. That unity is stronger than tyranny. Whatever this new threat is, we will face it together, as equals, as friends. Voices rose in agreement. From the Tresh, from former Council species, from new members. Everyone agreed. They would face this together. Zelthar stood as well. I propose we form a joint investigation team. Scientists from all our species, military observers, diplomats. We will send them with Ragnarok to investigate the signal. We will learn who these Forerunners are, and we will respond appropriately. The motion was seconded. Voted on, passed unanimously. Within days, the team was assembled. 50 of the brightest minds from across the galaxy. They boarded Ragnarok. The ancient battleship prepared for a new mission. Martinez went to see them off. She stood in the hangar bay as the team boarded. She recognized many of them. Scientists she had worked with. Soldiers she trusted. Friends. The Ragnarok AI spoke to her. Its voice came through the hangar speakers. President Martinez, I am ready to depart. My crew is prepared. My systems are optimal. I will investigate this signal and report my findings. Be careful, Ragnarok, Martinez said. We do not know what you will find out there. I understand. But do not worry, Madam President. Dr. Chen built me well. Whatever is out there, I will protect this crew. I will protect humanity. I will protect all the species of the assembly. That is my purpose. That is what I was made for. Martinez smiled. The AI had grown, changed. It was no longer just a weapon. It had become something more. A guardian, a symbol, a friend. Then go, she said. Find the truth and come back safely. I will. Goodbye, President Martinez. The hangar bay doors opened. Ragnarok slowly moved out into space. Its massive hull reflected the light of nearby stars. Weapons ready, shields active, crew prepared. It accelerated smoothly, heading toward the unknown signal. Toward whatever lay beyond. Martinez watched until it disappeared. Then she returned to Unity Station, to her duties, to the assembly. There was work to be done. Always work to be done. That night she stood alone in her quarters, looking out at the stars, thinking about everything that had happened, everything they had built, everything they still had to face. Her communicator beeped. A message from Earth, from her successor as President of the United Earth Government. The message was simple. The people are proud of what you have accomplished. The galaxy is better because of your courage. Whatever comes next, humanity will face it with heads held high. We do not kneel. We stand always. Martinez felt tears in her eyes. They had done it. Against all odds. Against the Council. Against fear itself. Humanity had not just survived. They had thrived. They had changed the galaxy, but now a new chapter was beginning. The Forerunners. Whoever they were. Whatever they wanted. Humanity and its allies would face them together. Far away in the depths of space, Ragnarok traveled toward the signal source. Its sensors reached out into the darkness, searching, scanning, learning. The crew worked quietly, efficiently. Humans worked alongside Kresh. Vratics worked with Tresh. Former enemies, now friends. Former slaves, now equals. All of them focused on one goal, understanding the message. The ship's linguist, a Tresh named Velsha, finally made a breakthrough. She had been analyzing the signal for days. Now she called the captain to the bridge. "I have translated more of the message," she said. "It is longer than we thought. What does it say?" The captain asked. He was human, young, but experienced. Velsha touched her console. The full message appeared on screen. Everyone on the bridge leaned forward to read it. "We are the Forerunners. We seeded this galaxy millions of years ago. We created the paths you now follow. We built the foundations of your civilizations. For eons, we watched from the shadows. We waited for you to grow, to learn, to unite. You have awakened. You have ended the age of division. You have formed the assembly. This pleases us. This is what we hoped for. But now you must prepare. The enemy is coming. The ancient threat that drove us from this galaxy. It sleeps no longer. It has detected your growth, your strength, and it comes to destroy you. We cannot save you. We are too few, too far away. But we can guide you. We can teach you. We can help you become what you need to be. If you wish our help, send a ship to these coordinates. We will meet. We will talk. We will prepare together. The galaxy must stand as one, or it will fall as one." The message ended. The bridge was silent. Everyone was processing what they had read. An ancient race. A terrible enemy. A threat beyond anything they had imagined. The Ragnarok AI spoke. "I have plotted a course to the coordinates. We can arrive in 3 weeks. Do you wish to proceed, Captain?" The captain looked around at his crew, at the humans and aliens who had become his family, at the faces showing fear and determination in equal measure. "Yes," he said. "We proceed. Send the coordinates to Unity Station. Tell them what we found, and tell them that Ragnarok is continuing the mission. Whatever is out there, we will face it. For humanity. For the assembly. For all of us." The ship adjusted course. Engines hummed. The ancient battleship, built to save Earth from an asteroid, now flew toward a meeting that could determine the fate of the entire galaxy. On Unity Station, Martinez received the report. She read it 3 times. Then she called an emergency meeting of the assembly. The delegates gathered quickly. She told them everything. The full message. The coordinates. The warning. When she finished, no one spoke for a long moment. Finally, Torvald stood. 5 years ago, we learned that the galaxy could change. That tyranny could be defeated. That unity was possible. Now we face a greater test. But we will not fail. We cannot fail. Not after coming this far. Another delegate stood. Then another. And another. One by one, every species pledged their support. Their ships. Their soldiers. Their scientists. Everything they had. They would stand together, as they always had. As they always would. Martinez felt hope. Real hope, yes, a terrible threat was coming. Yes, they might all die. But they would face it as they had faced the Council. With courage. With unity. With the determination that had carried them this far. She thought about Dr. Chen. About the weapon she had built. About the words she had spoken so many years ago. We built it to fight God if we had to. Maybe that time had come. Maybe Ragnarok would finally face the enemy it was truly built for. But it would not face that enemy alone. It would have the entire galaxy at its back. Martinez looked out at the assembled delegates, at the representatives of 200 worlds, at the symbol of everything they had accomplished. "Then we prepare," she said. "We build. We train, we learn, and when this enemy comes, it will find not a divided galaxy, not weak species fighting among themselves. It will find the Galactic Assembly, united, strong, ready." She raised her hand in salute. The human gesture had become a symbol across the galaxy. "We do not kneel," she said. 200 voices answered as one. "We stand." Somewhere in the darkness between stars, an ancient enemy stirred. It had heard the call. It had sensed the awakening, and it was coming. But the galaxy was ready. For the first time in its history, all species stood together. The age of division was over. The age of unity had begun, and at the center of it all, one ancient battleship flew toward destiny. Ragnarok, the weapon that saved humanity, the guardian of the galaxy, the symbol of hope. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Because that is what humanity had taught the galaxy, that standing together was always stronger than standing alone.